Today, we become legends.
So it's been a while since I've done a Q&A, so I put out a community post and a channel in my Discord for you guys to ask me any questions you have. And I'm going to be answering as many as I can in this video. I picked out the most interesting ones, so it's not like a 50-minute video or whatever, you know, of just like, because a lot of them were sort of repeat or like similar questions. Some of them were trolly, a lot of them were trolly actually. So I picked out the most interesting ones for this video that hopefully you'll be chomping at the bit for answers for. So let's get right into it. So this first one's from Envy. He says, do you enjoy making Smite content and is it as enjoyable as it first was for you? Yeah, I'm really enjoying making Smite content. Obviously I had my break a couple of months back and that was really refreshing for me, and I had a lot of cool ideas for videos and stuff going back. I'm enjoying it probably more than what I did when I first started making them because the reward for it is larger. You know, I'm still probably putting in a similar amount of effort making similar quality videos. The quality has improved a little bit, but there's also, you know, I've got a much larger audience. I get more views for it. I can do it as my full-time job now. There's a lot of things that are better about it now than they were when I originally started doing it. But in terms of just the raw enjoyment of, you know, editing videos and coming up with ideas, it's probably about the same. Next one is from Blip. How did your uni results go? They went pretty well. I got a 2-1 in my degree, which is the second highest grade you can get. So yeah, went pretty well. Mr. King Dice asks, are there any item concepts that aren't currently in Smite that you would like to see put into the game? Obviously, I've made a video about this, but I would like to see tier 2 items be brought back. You know, I'm not sure about any specific concepts, but, you know, just like tier 2 bridge items you can build early game that are generally sold late game, I would like to see come back, like the old Itchival, the old Assy, the old Glad Shield, that kind of stuff. But also, I would like to see items, I think they should remove masks, by the way. I think masks are a bit stupid. They should remove the masks and add some items that have negative stats, in my opinion. There are some limitations to this, like you couldn't have a negative power item because then you would literally have negative power, but you could have stuff with negative protections or negative health, things like that. But you know, then they have like a really big upside in a certain area and things like that. You know, maybe you would have to limit them per class, I'm not sure about that, but I think experimenting with like reducing your stats from an item for like a powerful effect, kind of like a Sacrificial Shroud in a way. I think those kind of items are very interesting with a cool trade-off. Umbra asks, how do you feel about your success on YouTube and what was it like starting out? So obviously I'm incredibly happy with how YouTube has gone over the last few years. It's insane that I can do it as my full-time job effectively now and it earns me enough money to live. So I'm extremely grateful for all of you guys for that. It wouldn't be possible without every single one of you. And what was it like starting out? It was a ride. It was a ride for sure. It took me a while to figure out what content I was best at making and what content did well and was wanting to be watched by you guys. It took me a while to fully figure that out, but I think I've got it down now. But yeah, for a while it was like, you know, I would put out a video and it would do insanely well, and then I put out a couple more videos and they do absolutely terribly. You know, it took me a while to figure out what is actually good. But I feel like that's generally what happens with people starting out on YouTube. Generally, people don't come out of the gate making banger video after banger video, just absolutely popping off. Usually you experiment a bit, some things don't do well, some things do well, and you kind of figure that out. Jason asks, would you say this is the best Conquest has been in a long time? Yeah, I would say that. I think before the mid-season patch, I would say no to that. Because I think there were some negative changes to the map, you know, like vines and things like that. But the mid-season removed the vines and also added the little side camps and things like that, a little bit of side jungle to duel in. I think it makes it very interesting. So yeah, I would say this is the best Conquest has been in a long time, probably since like Season 2, in my opinion. Aya or Ire asks, what's your favorite Smite season? I just mentioned this now. My favorite Smite season is Season 2, because it was basically the solo season. It was like released below in a time. You know, solo laners were incredibly dominant. I really enjoyed that meta. Blip again asks, what meme pick is a guilty pleasure for you? So honestly, I don't really consider it that much of a meme pick, but I feel like most people will consider it a meme pick. It's probably Kali mid. I've got a few videos on my channel of me doing Kali mid and it actually works insanely well, which is why I don't really consider it a meme pick, but for most people I guess it would be considered a meme pick, so yeah, I would have to go with Kali mid. Barely Mexican asks, what is your best advice for a new player? Try to not rely on pre-builds too much is what I would say for new players. You know, try and not, well, obviously don't rely on recommended builds because they're terrible, but even don't just rely on like a 6-item build that's given to you by like a YouTuber or a friend or something like that. Try and understand why builds are good and what stats you need on certain characters. That'll really help you out because you don't have to memorize a build for all your characters. You just need to know like, oh, I'm playing Thor, I need like power and penetration and cooldown reduction. I should buy these items because they have a lot of those stats and they're very efficient for the cost. You'll do a lot better and you'll improve, and you won't have to reserve so much memory space for just a build for every single god, because you'll know in general what you want to build on people. And this also helps with when new gods come out or when items get reworked and things like that. Strawberry Pop-Tart, I assume that's meant to be. What is the hardest role to play in a typical Conquest match? So the hardest role is definitely jungle. They have the most to do, and then probably support follows that. Matan asks, what was your least favorite Smite meta? It has to be the Golden Bow ADC meta when ADCs were like 3 levels up on everyone because they got so much farm because of throwing dagger and Golden Bow. That was horrible. Sinon asks, if you were to create a god, what role would they be and how would their kit look like? So if I was to create a god, it would be a kind of like support mage style. One that's focused like heavily around buffing their own team and debuffing the enemy team with little to no damage. You know, I think honestly it could work with no damage, but maybe you just give them like a small amount of damage. And I'm not talking like a healer here, I'm talking like a sort of, you know, CC buffs, debuffs, that kind of stuff, but like a support mage, not a tanky guardian. Liger asks, if Smite at any point announced that it was coming to Android or Apple, would it be a deal breaker for you? No, not really. They would have to keep the matchmaking separate though. I wouldn't want mobile players playing with PC and console players. They just get utterly obliterated. Like the gap between phone users and console or PC users is even bigger than the gap between console and PC, like much bigger. So you would have to keep the matchmaking separate probably. So other than that, it wouldn't be a deal breaker for me, no. NHV asks, how do you feel Smite balance is for our current season? One of the best it's been, I would say. People are always going to complain about overpowered gods, but I think the difference between the best god and the worst god is a lot smaller than it has been in the past, you know. People that complain about like unbalanced stuff in Smite nowadays, you should have played back in like Season 2 and beta and stuff like that when you released Bologna and released Guam were around. It was absolutely ridiculous. You know, one god would be literally like twice as good as another god, whereas like that's not even close to the case now. Snake asks, do you plan on doing a rant video soon? So rant videos are like very spontaneous to me. I'll get pissed at something and I'll be like, you know what, I'm going to do a rant about that, and I basically write the rant, record the rant, and probably upload the rant within like a day or two. They're not really planned. Whereas like most of my videos, I'll generally have them planned and like more structured and things like that. Rants I just kind of do when I feel like it. They're a lot more organic. Blop asks, what's the highest amount of kills you got on Ganesha?
0 fucking kills.
Thunderbeast asks, why the name Inters3ct? So the name, in terms of like the word, it was just a random thing I thought up like when I was, I think I was in bed, because I always have my best ideas in bed right before I go to sleep. So I just thought of the name Inters3ct, it sounded kind of cool. It was originally Inters3ct Gaming, but I removed the gaming because like, it was kind of pointless. And the reason for the 3 is just for like searchability reasons, because the word intersect is actually a word, and if you just search the word intersect with no 3, my channel doesn't often come up, or at least it didn't when I was a smaller channel. So it helps with like discoverability and stuff. If you search intersect with a 3, you're guaranteed to find my channel. FoxyMate asks, do you ever think they'll bring Hercules Adventures back? I hope so. I really enjoyed the Hercules Adventures. I think they were one of the more successful adventures as well, so maybe they'll bring them back in some way. They probably won't directly bring it back. They'll probably like, you know, remaster it, bring out a new one with maybe like more content and stuff like that. I would like to see that. I'm not sure if they'll do it though, because they've kind of given up on adventures at this point. Anarot asks, which god do I want to see make its way into Smite? Mordred. Not a god, but Mordred from Arthurian mythology. I think that would be really cool to have. You know, then we'd have like Arthur, Merlin, Morgana, and Mordred. Those are kind of like the 4 main ones. I guess you could add Uther as well. Let the Gayness be a part of you asks, do you like or hate new Persephone, and have you tried her yet? So I have tried her and I played against her a few times. No change really. I still don't like the god. I don't think I hate her more. I don't think I hate her less either though. Joseph6 asks, have you travelled to any country outside of the UK pre-COVID? Yeah, I've been to France, Normandy, I've been to Spain, Mallorca, and I'm planning to go to Norway at some point as well soon, probably somewhere around Oslo. Lucian asks, what games do you play in your spare time besides Smite? I enjoy Hearthstone, mostly Battlegrounds in Hearthstone, Divinity Original Sin 2, I play some Minecraft, also some Tekken, Dragon Quest 11, just a lot of random games to be fair. I play like a lot of games, I don't play like a couple of specific ones. The Big Boogaloo Man asks, do you feel that you have to restrict yourself to Smite content due to the fact that it's the crux of your channel? Did you consider expanding your channel beyond Smite during your break? So yeah, in a way it is restricted to Smite, but that's just how like every creator is, you know, you build an audience. Most people are subscribed for the fact that I make Smite content, not for the fact that it's me. Some of you will be here for me, I'm sure of that, but I think the majority are here just because they enjoy the Smite content that I make specifically. So yeah, there is some kind of a restriction there. I think if I tried to transition to some kind of other content, I would get significantly less views. And just in general, that's backed up with evidence from the fact that, you know, I've made Divinity content, I've made Hearthstone content, I've done a little bit of Minecraft content, I've done like Pokemon and stuff like that, and generally they just get way less views than my Smite videos. Some are more successful than others, but generally they get way less. And yeah, in terms of expanding my channel, I'm pretty fine making Smite content right now. I don't feel the need to, you know, transition into something else, to be completely honest with you. But I do occasionally post videos for other games. One, just because I sometimes enjoy it, you know, I sometimes get just like a random spark of motivation to make a video about a certain game. Like recently I made a Hearthstone Battlegrounds video. But also just to test the waters and see how well they do. Like I made a Divinity Original Sin like tips video way back, and that one's actually done really well. It's got like 25-30k views, which is like around what my average Smite video does. Nimbus Umbra asks, did you ever miss the Season 7 map? I liked it because it felt like it took place in the early morning. Is there a specific vibe or time you would like to see for the Conquest map? Yeah, in terms of like visuals, I think I probably preferred the Season 7 map, but in terms of like gameplay, I prefer the Season 8 map. My favorite visuals though were from the Season 1 map. It was really warm, it felt almost a little bit realistic, but also with that kind of fantasy element. You know, felt a little bit almost medieval, kind of. It was a bit of a weird vibe to describe, but I really did enjoy the Season 1 map. I'll try and put like an image of Season 1 up on the screen. Do you think the level of difficulty set by Hi-Rez is accurate in Smite? I assume this is talking about the difficulty of the gods, where it says like, you know, they're hard, they're medium, or they're easy. It's not accurate whatsoever. Don't trust that. Some hard gods are like really easy, some easy gods are really hard. Mboss K-Dog asks, what is your personal favorite Pantheon lore-wise? Separate from Smite, which Pantheon do you find the most interesting? If we're not including Arthurian, I will probably say Greek. Prevail Eternal asks, aside from the meta and the gameplay of a god, what are your top 5 picks for your favorite gods, like the gods you enjoy the idea of and the visual design? So I have a full video on this. I update it usually like every season or two, where I do my like top 10 favorite gods, so you can watch that video if you want more info on this. I'll give my top 3 just so I don't ruin all of that video. My top 3 will probably be Arthur, Bologna, and then either Amaterasu or Erlang Shen. Those two kind of fluctuate on whether I'm enjoying one more than the other. I'm Blue says, if Smite was deleted tomorrow, would you play another MOBA or start doing something else? I probably wouldn't play another MOBA. I enjoy Smite, I don't particularly enjoy MOBAs. You know, I have tried other MOBAs, but I don't enjoy them anywhere near as much as Smite. Predecessor looks interesting. I'm trying to get in on that when they do like another beta test and things like that, see if that's anything good. But yeah, in general, if Smite just like got deleted tomorrow, I would probably just like not do YouTube, to be honest. Like, I don't really have an urge to make content for other games as much as I do for Smite, and I also think people generally won't follow me over to other games as much. Although I guess if Smite was completely deleted, maybe they would. Jesse Lemon asks, you must in some way nerf your favorite god and buff your most hated god. How do you do it? This is a really interesting question. My favorite god is probably Arthur. I guess maybe I would make his 4A, the like long range stun, make it root instead of a stun or something maybe. And then buff my most hated god. My most hated god is like either Arachne or Afro. It kind of fluctuates on which one I hate the most. Probably Arachne right now though, I would say. In terms of buffing Arachne, I would probably rework her passive entirely, but that's a rework, not a buff. In terms of just like a direct buff, maybe make it so her 2 just stuns on her 3rd auto attack regardless of if all 3 hit the same target. You know, that would be a little buff. You know, if she puts 2 on someone and they escape, she can just run up to someone else, auto them once, and it stuns them. Soaring Salamanders asks a lot of questions here. How tall are you and which country are you from? I'm 6'3" and I'm from England. What's your favorite non-Smite game and what is your favorite JRPG? Favorite non-Smite game is probably Divinity Original Sin 2 or Minecraft. Favorite JRPG, Dragon Quest XI. If you were stuck on an island without internet, which Smite gods would you want to stay with you? Probably Kepri and his new skin, because then I could just eat him for, you know, sustenance. And what would you do with $10 billion? Buy a nice house, invest some in crypto, and then give the rest away. Now, Derek and C asks, what was your first video ever made? I'll put a clip of my first video ever made in this video so you guys can laugh at it. It was a Ras Night montage with like terrible MLG edits. It was kind of intentionally terrible, but also like very cringy. Yash Singh asks, why don't you like ADC? It's not a bad thing, just curious. I generally don't like ADC because of the gods. The role itself is okay. Generally, I like the idea of, you know, being left alone and 1v1ing. That's kind of why I like solo. But in general, I don't like hunters. Like, I like Ula, and that's kind of like the only hunter I really like. And honestly, the way I play Ula is I just build him full ability base and usually play him in mid and stuff like that, so I don't even play him like a hunter really. I play him like a kind of burst assassin. Give Nurse a Buff asks, how much money do you earn and are you doing YouTube full time? I was considering doing a video about this, you know, like how much does an 80k subscribers channel earn from YouTube, etc. In terms of my ad revenue, it usually fluctuates between about $800 and $1,200 a month. But then I also get sponsorships, which I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to disclose the exact amount I'm paid from sponsorships, so I'm not going to do that. But the sponsorships add a little bit extra on top of that. That means I can basically live on it, which, yeah, I'm doing YouTube full time right now. Marcos asks, what's your favorite Pokemon generation and why? Definitely Gen 3. Has a lot of nostalgic value for me. It's sort of the generation I grew up with as a kid, the one I played the most, along with kind of Gen 4. But then also I just really like Gen 3. You know, the region design is really good, the story is great, a lot of the Pokemon are some of my favorites. Mohammed Amin Lakabibi, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong there, and advice to all mid laners, I would say don't auto attack as much. You know, mid laners, seem to just like sit there auto-attacking and stuff. Generally, you don't need to as a mid laner. The damage on like a mage's auto-attacks when you're building just like full burst damage is generally like pretty inconsequential, and auto-attacks slow you down a lot. There's a big movement penalty when you're auto-attacking. Whereas like when you're casting an ability, there's generally not a movement penalty. So it makes you a lot less mobile for like really not that much extra damage. So generally, unless you have like poly or you're trying to like finish a kill and you think you're going to need the extra damage, you shouldn't be auto-attacking that much in team fights. Angel Lopez asks, how do you get your hair so stylish? It's just a bit of gel. You know, I just run some gel through my hair like this and just to kind of like spike it up, leave a bit longer on the top and the fringe just to get like a little bit of style out of it. Arman Nori asks, why did you choose Kuzumbo for your profile? It's just a funny meme. You know, I created like a spinning image of Kuzumbo at one point, like a GIF just for lols, and I just thought, you know what, I'm not gonna make him a profile, why not? I don't even like Kuzumbo that much. I have like 3 masteries on him or something in Smite. It's just kind of funny for the meme. MyLess13 asks, what happened to content on your interspatial channel? There is going to be a video coming out on that fairly soon. It's going to be one on why are major nations neglecting nuclear power. But those videos take a hell of a long time to make. They take probably like 10 times as long as it takes me to make a Smite video, so they're going to be coming out less frequently on that channel. And also, I don't really have a schedule on that channel like I do on my current one. I don't want to like push myself to just like make a video every week on that channel or whatever. I want to make them when I want to make them. But yeah, there should be one coming out fairly soon. Angst Legion says, why did you need laser eye surgery? My eyes were just generally not that great. They weren't horrible, like I could still see, but I don't like wearing glasses or contact lenses. I look bad in glasses in my opinion, and they're a bit cumbersome, and contact lenses really don't work for me. Like, I don't know if I just never really got into them, but they really irritate my eyes and things like that, and they're a pain to put in. Plus, I'm going to be starting to learn to drive soon as well, and I just want to be able to, like, you know, do that. I'll do all that stuff without having to worry about glasses and contact lenses and stuff like that. Don't eat glass, good advice. Asks, are you still in school / what did you study? I just graduated this year, actually. Graduated in May. And I studied computer systems engineering. And that's all the questions I have. There were some other ones, obviously. There were many questions asked, but some of them were very similar or the same that will require a similar answer. Some of them were memes, like I mentioned at the start of the video. And I didn't want to make the video, like, super long. I've been recording for, like, 25 minutes, so when I cut this down, it's probably going to be more like a 15 to 18 minute video, most likely. Which is generally, like, a kind of good range for a YouTube video. You know, if they go over, like, 30 minutes, people tend to not want to watch them, and if they're, like, under 10 minutes, it's like, it's a bit short, and I'm not really going to answer that many questions. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Got a bit of insight into me or my channel or YouTube in general, or like there was some smart questions as well. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys in another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.